4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome. This is episode 10.
10.
Is it really?
Of Loud Snackers, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
I've been wrong so many times about the episode numbers.
I thought we celebrated Loud Snackers episode 10 like 2 episodes ago.
It was like episode 3, and we're like, episode 10.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah, so this is the real episode 10.
Yes.
So what's been up? What's new?
With ourselves or with the world?
Just, both.
Well, yesterday,
How do you open it?
there was a big boxing match.
Indeed. Did everyone watch Logan Paul versus Floyd Mayweather? Or should I say it the other way around? Floyd Mayweather versus Logan Paul?
I feel like the respect needs to go to Floyd Mayweather.
Right.
But
No.
I didn't watch it. I watched the highlights of it because...
Yeah. You know what? But good for him. I mean, I think anybody would go in the ring for 20 million, right? Just about anybody.
Yeah, I think so too. The fact that that match made that much money is crazy.
It is crazy. I think Floyd made about like 50 to 100 million.
No
somewhere in between.
way.
Oh my gosh.
Was there a winner? There was like no judging.
No.
No judging.
The
It was
Eight
just
rounds.
like,
So
let's fight, thank you, and then that was it.
Before the round even went on, the only way that someone would have been declared a winner is if someone was knocked out. So if no one got knocked out, they said there would be no winner declared. So, but then some people scored the fight, and he won. Floyd Mayweather won just on points, but then they didn't even get close to knocking each other out. So it was.
I mean, Logan Paul has like 30, 40 pounds on him.
Yeah, and Floyd Mayweather's like 44 years old. So it's
That's what I personally thought started to show.
yeah.
Like, Floyd in his prime, I don't know if it would have been like way better, but like he would have been a little quicker, a little more longer lasting.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing to lose in this match. Like, I'm sorry, nothing to gain by putting your full effort in,
That's true.
So he did not put his full effort in.
That's what he says. I kind of feel like he probably trained a lot.
Oh, okay. Maybe.
Yeah.
So if all of us, let's say we go back in the day and we played ourselves against like some sort of sports, right? Or it could be anything competitive against our younger selves. What would that one thing be that you can beat now? Or like
Against your younger self
Your younger
self.
Oh.
Right.
in a sport.
I
Yeah.
mean,
It could be sport. It could be anything.
Laundry. I think I'm so much better at laundry now than I was.
I can see you like
When I was,
yelling at
like,
your
younger.
younger self. Do it better. This is terrible.
you're folding job.
Black and white do not go in the same wash.
That's a great sport.
Check your pockets next time. Yeah.
I mean, how young am I in that I'm going
The prime of whatever you're
see.
thinking about right now. Like
Well,
early 20s. Or something.
I'll say this. I'll kick my ass in wrestling for sure.
right now?
Right now. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Because you have to like carry your kids all the time, everywhere
Yeah,
too.
I wrestle them
They get
anyways.
tired.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could take myself wrestling like from my high school wrestling days because first of all, I was about 20, 30 pounds heavier. But the thing I have now is like, I think I'm like more like competitive than when I was back then. Like when I was wrestling in high school, I was like, why am I doing this? Like for sure because of the leotard, but like besides that, like, why am I doing this? Why am I rolling around with these guys? Just wanted to take pictures. But
But say you did heavyweight, right?
no, I did the one underneath it.
Oh, I was gonna say like heavyweight guys, the leotards, like your tits are like hanging from the side.
Yeah,
right? It's like
you can't contain.
you can't
Wait.
contain it.
Okay, what are the weight classes for wrestling? Is it different than boxing?
Boxing is like crazy. There's like a weight class for every like
Yeah.
4, 5, 6 pounds and stuff. It's
Yeah.
weird, but wrestling is pretty straightforward. I forget all the light ones because I wasn't even like within that vicinity, but like
Yeah.
it's like 189, 215, and then like heavyweight, like 172 or something, and then like 189, 215, and then heavyweight. Heavyweight goes all the way up to like 275. Yeah. And those are like the real big boys.
So when I think
Big
about
belly.
what I would be better at, I can't think of anything because I rely a lot. When I was younger, I relied
Yeah.
heavily on my speed, right? Just because and I know I'm slower now than I was.
You had that quick release when you were balling up.
Yeah, I mean, not just that, but just like being able to cut and just being like when I played football, it was just, being able to cut quickly and
being more agile.
Yeah, so I was just more agile as a younger person. I mean, I haven't done anything active, and maybe I'll be a better biker, a long distance biker now than I was.
How about mentally though? Like, don't you guys think there are certain things where mentally we would be better?
Way stronger mentally.
For sure. For sure. Like
older, yeah.
Like I have more confidence in myself than I ever have, so I can definitely.
There's just more perseverance too. Like when you're a teenager, you're like, oh, this is hard. Like, I mean, wrestling is hard. It's like the hardest sport I've ever done in my life. And I've done cross country and people think that's like, oh, long distance running, that's so hard. It's nothing compared to wrestling. And so it was like super hard. But I feel like if I were to wrestle now in like the same practices, I wouldn't be like, oh my gosh, this is so crazy. Like, I'd just be like, no, just get through it. But back in the day, I'd be like, I don't know if I'd ever sign up next year, like this is so crazy. Yeah, so mentally I'm way stronger. In terms of what I would definitely kill my younger self in these days, it's chess.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I always liked chess. I played chess periodically throughout my teenage years, early 20s. Like whenever I had the chance, when someone had a board, I'd be like, oh, let's play. And I was terrible.
Yeah.
I didn't even know there was such a thing as online chess. That there's just like a website you can go on, chess.com, leechess.com.org or whatever. Like you can just go on there, make an account and just play for free. And so ever since then, I've just been on this chess binge for the past year, I would say.
Yeah.
And it's, like if I played my younger self, it would be like over in two.
So it's not because of Queen's Gambit.
Yeah, Queen's Gambit definitely, it's like very inspiring and it's a great story and it's really fun to watch and stuff. And it made chess cool again.
Yeah.
But chess has always been cool.
I think so.
Yeah.
Like I have so many hobbies.
Yeah.
That like, I don't know. Like I can't think of like my biggest drawback is I don't spend enough time on one thing to like master it that well. Like chess, I've definitely gotten better recently, but I haven't mastered it.
Let's play.
I'm scared. Honestly,
I mean, you can beat me.
I'll do it, but I'm scared. But I like I play a lot of board games, and I would kick my ass in board games, from like my older self. But that's I don't know if that counts. I guess it does. If chess counts, then
like Cards Against Humanity, like stuff like that.
No, like it's a lot of really kind of more like deep dive strategy board games that like you have to be in the board gaming community to kind of know about. But it's not even that crazy because there's even way crazier than what I know.
Sure.
Like what I know is like pretty like surface level compared to like but then I have like that's my thing. Like I am surface net level on like a lot of different topics kind of thing. So yeah, board games are
That's something that's a little different for me too, compared to my younger self. I'm a lot more like obsessed with things, like just at one thing. I'll just do it all day, and I just want to get into it as much as possible. Whereas like when I was a teenager, I would just kind of dabble in things and like not really get amazing at anything, and then like just rely on whether it be natural talent to like get me to a certain point. But then once it starts getting hard, I'll like just be like, whatever, like back away. But now it's like, no, I have to overcome. I have to dominate. Like you just have that competitive mindset. I don't know what it is. But
imagine if we were all like that in high school. Like it's like, oh, I'm gonna get that chick.
It's like you get like a restraining order on you. It doesn't matter. Like
everybody will have a restraining order. It's like, yeah, that chick is mine.
It's like I won. No, you're in jail.
Yeah, be thankful some teenagers are passive.
Yeah. I guess I kind of went opposite of what you did. Well, like, what's the purpose of this? Like, why am I doing this?
That's true. Well, that's more like just prioritizing.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like when I play, like I used to play video games and I'd be like, I get mad when I like something bad happened, right?
Yeah.
But now it's like, why?
Yeah. See, that rage was real though.
Yeah.
But now I think I'm like, why?
Yeah. It's like, what's the point of getting mad? Like, am I a pro? Like, not even
What's
close.
the video game that made you the maddest? Like growing up.
Oh, Madden. because Jen beat me 8 times in a row, and I couldn't figure out why. I'm like, what?
Yeah, Madden could definitely do that. What about Eunice? What about you?
Did you play?
Man, I don't know if I was much of a video game player, but I remember playing so much Sims.
Oh.
Sims.
Now, yeah,
And life
but
wouldn't
the thing is, like,
wouldn't really work out that well in Sims, and you like throw the keyboard and stuff.
yeah, I would like light them on fire. Like, you are not.
No, that would actually happen. I played.
Really, you light people on fire?
I mean, they would get lit on fire. Like I don't think
oh
you
my
would light
God.
them on
Wow.
fire.
And then there would be like a tombstone and everything. It was very morbid.
Whoa.
Like playing God was very, very dangerous, I think. Yeah.
Was there something that made you super competitive? Like you did not like the result of whatever, and you needed to change it.
About Sims or just in general?
Just in general,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, I think, well, I'm a Leo. And so we're just like extremely stubborn and competitive, I think. I'm truly competitive, so like I'm not sign. I'm just kidding. I'm not like a huge astrology person, but it just gives me an excuse to like blame a characteristic when I'm acting competitive. And I think like flag football or any intramural sports or like
she could
all
throw a
of
tight
that.
spiral. By the way,
That's awesome.
Wow.
she can throw a ball. Wow.
That's awesome.
I could throw a real loose one. For sure. It's like wobbly, like crazy.
Oh, Ninja
It
Star.
gets to the destination though. That's all that matters.
That's
I just chuck
Yeah,
it sideways.
honestly when I watch some like NFL pro football like quarterbacks. I'm like, that's not a tight spiral. Like
Yeah.
Drew Brees is like the only one that I know that consistently.
Yeah, Peyton Manning, he throws ducks
Yeah.
all day.
I'm just like,
Just gets it there.
it's like that's a ninja star. It's like, what's going on over there?
That's true.
Got to challenge your teammates, you know. So flag football.
I think something that's the thing. It was just flag football, but like I don't know why I felt the pressure to like be the best at it. And like I think I was quarterback for women's church league, which is literally it's women's and then it's also a church league. So it's probably like the kindest league that you could join.
Aren't they super
But
intense?
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah,
they get
so that's the
real
thing. Okay, like
crazy.
girls like me, I was super intense in like this very, like it's supposed to be very like loving sisterhood, and then I was like, get your route down, and I'm like,
Yeah, it's only
oh my God, I need to
Christian because
repent.
like they repent together afterwards. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. No, I've seen those games, like the girls' tournaments, like they're screaming at each other. They're all like huffing and puffing and like they're like hairy for some reason. Like
You-
Harry.
Eunice is like, go
We, like,
straight,
grow
turn
hair.
left, or you go to hell.
Did you guys actually like call routes and stuff like that and like call the plays?
Yeah,
So
it
that's
was
awesome.
intense. Like honestly, there was one tournament or like this tournament every year, and there was like another rival church, and we'd always go back and forth. But I remember there was like
say
one
the
year,
church
like,
name.
Just do it.
Honestly, I don't even remember.
Oh, okay.
Oh, because
I, like,
they're just so
block it out.
unimportant to you,
Wow.
right? You're just
Yeah.
So did you guys
So
always
that
end up
was-
winning?
There were a few years where we won, yeah, and it felt great. And
Because
then-
you're the QB?
No. I was part of a co-ed team too, but there was a year I think we won. Maybe when I was QB. I don't know why I don't remember this stuff, and that's the thing. It's like if it mattered that much, I should have remembered, and if it mattered that much, I shouldn't have acted. I don't know. I act like damn fool sometimes under pressure.
Well, she has like a tattoo of it, like on her back.
It's the actual
The year.
date.
Yeah.
You guys,
like,
you guys
I destroyed
confession.
this church.
Is that some sort of anniversary or your parents' birthday? It's like, no, it's the day I played football.
The church league. Yeah.
I had a confession, and it's so embarrassing because I started playing football like in high school, and I thought I was a fucking shit, which was annoying because one of my church, this was like Turkey Bowl. Do you guys remember Turkey Bowl?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was like a Midwest church football league tournament or whatever amongst other churches. I don't know why I've been so many church tournaments, but I guess that's where I shine. And that's where I decided to get a jersey that said, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. Dangerous 01.
Yes.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
dangerous.
Like, how conceited
Yeah.
is that?
It's because you're dangerous.
Yeah.
Did you make any like fancy
You're
spellings
the
on
first
that?
dangerous person
Yeah.
that came
The
from that
first one.
church.
Dangerous with a dollar sign at the end.
Dangerous with a Z.
If I was playing you, I would totally be like, who got dangerous? We need to get dangerous.
Did you guys have jerseys and like names that you guys like?
I did for like church basketball tournaments.
Yeah, what was that?
I don't remember. I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, we
wasn't-
were just numbers. We didn't have like our names on them or anything like that because it was just church jerseys.
It definitely wasn't dangerous.
Yeah.
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 It was like safe boy. With a dollar sign S.
Safe boy.
Safe boy.
Who's got safe boy?
He won't push you around at all.
Safe boy.
It's like stop.
I was so I had a lot of different names growing up because so back home everyone calls me Jose. And we'll go into that another time, but so one day I came to volleyball practice and my coach, he was trying to call my name, right? So in front of the whole team, he kind of flubbed my name and said Hoj, right? So I put Hoj on my knee pads. I just
So you embraced
ran
it.
with it. Yeah, I embraced it. I just said, all right, I'll be Hoj,
Should have put Simpson on the back of his jersey. O.J. Simpson.
Hoj Simpson. Hoj, Dangerous Simpson.
But you actually spelled it like Hoe J.
No, it was like Hoja. Something like Hojai.
Hoja?
Hoha.
Hoha.
Hoha. Yeah. We couldn't even spell back then. Hoha.
Sounds like how Eunice laughs.
Hoha.
Switch it up.
Oh, so you got the blurred background after the person walking in the background.
There's like a bunch of nudes like walking around in the back over there. You got to cover that
You
up.
saw him?
The incident.
No, like from last time.
Oh, yeah. I know. I could change it to a few things, you guys, but check this out.
Okay, there you go.
Okay.
Wow.
Dangerous. Perfect.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
It matches.
So dangerous.
So dangerous.
this one's quite fitting.
Very
That's
So proper.
yeah,
So appropriate.
That's safe boy. You got it all. You got all the merch out.
Heck
All right,
yeah.
going back to the topic of fighting, right? We touched on that in the beginning of this
Yeah.
podcast episode. Think about, first of all, are you guys into watching fighting at all?
I'm into a little bit of MMA.
Okay.
That's about it, though.
Okay. How do you think some of the best MMA fighters today would match up against some of the legendary fighters of the past? For example, right? Let's take Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee, the icon,
Yeah.
the singular icon of martial arts,
Yeah.
and pit him against Conor McGregor.
I think he'll get his butt kicked.
Bruce Lee would get his butt kicked?
Yeah.
I agree.
I think so too.
I agree.
And it kind of goes back to, like there was more knowledge
Yeah.
collected, right? There's more experience collected. Even though if it's not one person over time, it's still, there's history. And I think, and we talk about how a lot of the younger guys that are coming up, and girls, they're like freak athletes, right?
Yeah.
So with nutrition advancing and techniques of advancing, I think it's just, it's like talking about basketball. It's like what today, basketball players beat Michael Jordan. I mean, that's a little bit debatable because I think Michael Jordan is still the greatest of all time. But, if it was against like Bill Weddington, he wouldn't make the league, I don't think. But yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Because okay, just, granted, let's say Conor McGregor was Bruce Lee's weight, because
Yeah.
they're like 10, 15 pounds apart,
Yeah.
generally speaking. But even Conor McGregor, when he stepped away for like 2-3 years, like he came back and got knocked out. It's because like the sport advanced even in that time, like
That's true.
before Conor McGregor retired, quote unquote, there was no such thing as like low calf kicks being like a mainstream thing to do during a fight. And then he came back and then he started getting his leg kicked and he was like, oh my gosh, what's going on here? And then his leg got, deadened.
I think that if Bruce Lee was alive today and he had the training, then it would be,
Oh, he might be champion.
I think, yeah, because of if he like trained the way that they train in modern times, because of his strength and his speed was
mindset.
Yeah, and it was just legendary. Of his strength, speed, and mindset was out of this world.
Yeah.
That I think he would have been great. But then if you were just talking about purely from where he stopped when he was at his peak compared to what Conor McGregor or what McGregor was when he was at his peak, I think he would get destroyed.
I mean, you have the guys that are stamina versus stamina, and then the technique versus technique. Like if it was George St. Pierre versus who just retired, Khabib, like that would be an insane match because that's stamina, wrestling. You know, it's like, and that would be fun to watch. But I will still give the edge to Khabib because
by far. Well, it depends. Are they fighting in their prime? You know,
in their prime.
Because GSP is like, he's like 40. He's not trying to fight anything.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but then like it's interesting when you go into the whole basketball argument too, because so when you think of Michael Jordan, and then you gotta think of Kobe Bryant, because those are similar in size, and because if you want to just do one-on-one, like I think Shaq would kill everybody, you know. Because you just go down on the block and he just take you out, you know?
Yeah.
But if you're going just purely, like if you go with weight and size and general build and stuff like that, if you're going with like a Michael Jordan-esque, I think that he would probably still beat anybody in his general athletic weight class. I don't think he was as skilled as Kobe Bryant, but I think that he was...
Whoa.
But I think that he was more athletic than Kobe, and I think that he was they both had a very, very.
But here's the thing: Jordan, he never prepared for games.
Yeah, see, that's the thing.
He smoked cigars and just taunted the whole entire time and partied.
Like I said, I'm not taking it like Jordan's the best of all time to me still. But when I think of the work that Kobe put in versus the work that Jordan put in, I'm not saying that Jordan didn't put in the work. He obviously did to get to where he was, but I think that Kobe it was a different type of mentality than Jordan, even though they both had that killer instinct in a different way.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think MJ had a mindset that was unhealthy.
Yeah.
It was like, it just never stopped. I don't know.
Did you guys watch that SNL skit about The Last Dance?
No.
Oh my God, it was so funny. It was, did you guys watch The Last Dance, the documentary? Yeah. Okay, so did you watch it, Eunice?
No.
Okay, so there's a documentary about the it's like the last couple seasons of Michael Jordan's
time with the
Bulls, right? Before he retired and before he went to the Wizards and stuff like that, right? And it was when he won that 6th championship. Okay. And during that, there is like this little small scene where he's playing a game against one of his security guards, right? And
it was like a coin?
Yeah. So he's playing a game where it's like, you just basically throw a coin and whoever gets it closest to the wall wins like $5, right? And SNL did a skit and it was, what's his name? Is it Keegan? It was it's the Key and Peele, is the taller guy. So he's playing Michael Jordan, right? And he's playing, so it's that same exact skit, but then Michael Jordan gets he gets into his killer instinct mode and he just starts destroying him at the quarters against the wall. He's like, I'll bet you it just started with $5 and the guy won. Right? The security guard won the first one and he goes like, right? And he's like, that got me. And I took it personal. Right?
That meme.
And then it just became like, let's go again, $1,000 this time. He's like, I don't have $1,000. He's like, don't worry, I'll spot you. He's like, all right. And then they go at it, and then he starts racking up all this debt. And by the end, he's like, hey, $10,000, man. And he's like, my guy, I can't do it anymore, man. It's too much money. He's like, your hair. He's like, you got a problem, man. And there's like a picture of him holding his hair. And it's like he won. But it's just.
I mean, it is an exaggeration of what his real mindset was like. You know, like he was like a very competitive. He was addicted to gambling, and maybe a part of that made him great. You know, and I guess Kobe doesn't necessarily have that, and he's maybe more of a wholesome person. Who knows? But one thing's for sure, people don't give LeBron enough credit. Okay, and I think MJ is the greatest of all time. But if LeBron won maybe a couple more championships, he could be in the talks of being the GOAT. And this is coming from a total MJ fan as well. And I just don't think he's getting a fair shake of it.
I do think that physically and basketball IQ, he is one of the greatest of all time, for sure.
Absolutely.
But he just doesn't have the accolades.
Yeah. Eunice, does this interest you?
Well, I'm honestly I was honestly thinking about like as much as the player or the fighter themselves are like the talent.
Yeah.
Like, you know who doesn't get enough credit are like the coaches or like the people who train the fighters or
I thought you were
like,
going to say the camera guy.
the camera.
You know, like the camera guy, the guy who takes the
But the
pictures.
concessions man.
Yeah,
That's true.
I mean,
No, sure.
Yeah, they
because
do.
mental game is all part of it too. And like who taught them that, you know?
For sure.
For sure. And like even okay, so I'm a Clippers fan, and I know that I'm in LA and everyone hates Clippers, but I've been one since 5th grade, so screw you guys. The most recent game, which just happened yesterday, Clippers beat the Mavs in a game 7, right? And the biggest reason why was, first of all, Kawhi Leonard, but also the coach, in my opinion. Right? He did an amazing job adjusting.
Yeah.
Because like there were just things that weren't working.
Yeah.
And like he made some pretty tough calls with some of his starters, like who straight up didn't play
Yeah.
for a couple games because they just couldn't face off against the other team. Like that doesn't mean that he's not going to start in the next series, but then it just wasn't working. So he made the adjustments that worked to the favor of the team. So it was,
I see.
for sure, I agree with what you're saying.
Who would you say is a great coach in your life?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I'll say it first. I mean, like I think my parents definitely are. You know, in a lot of ways, I feel like, when I think of a coach, I don't think a coach can be perfect, right? I think a coach is somebody that understands struggle. I think a coach needs to be somebody that can, communicate with you or relate with you in a lot of ways, so that whatever you're discussing, whatever you're going through, in a sense, you can go through it together. So, just kind of thinking back to a lot of different moments, a good coach also understands your strengths and weaknesses, and so there's nobody in my life, I think, that knows just the spectrum of me, growing from a child to an adult. And I think my parents would be the coach,
Yeah.
that I would select. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think our parents are, the best coach in the sense that they are the best people to want you to do well. It's like, what is the best coach? Obviously, they have the technical or knowledge to help you improve, but then it's also like the intention behind it. Like, do they really want you to do better? It's like that's something that I've been kind of realizing as well, even apart from the whole coaching aspect of things, like real friends. Like as you get older, you start to realize you lose friends, and it's possibly because you start to realize like you don't really have as many real friends as you think, meaning people that really want you to do well. Not out of convenience, not out of their own benefit, not necessarily even out of mutual benefit. Like, do they really have well wishes for you? And for that to happen, I'm not trying to say whoever doesn't wish well for you is a jerk. I mean, like, why should that be a natural feeling for anyone to have? But for sure, parents, family members have that sort of thing for you. So they certainly can be trustworthy. And, you cannot have a good coach unless you trust that person to coach you through life. So I think our parents, our spouses or soon to be, they want the best for you. So I think that's something that's especially true in these times. It's like, that's another thing, like when we're in high school, we think we have so many friends. And we do. We have friends that do all the things that we want to do, which is hang out, talk about who do you like, stuff like that. It doesn't matter, because like that's not real life. And then as you, enter your 30s or late 20s or whatever, you start thinking about like, well, who are the people that actually matter? And you start to realize it's maybe like 4 or 5 people,
Yeah.
It's kind of sad.
I actually enjoy, as I'm approaching 30, I actually enjoy seeing that. Do you remember that time, you guys?
It's like that.
But do you know, like, even when you're approaching like 25 or just each decade, maybe you realize like your circle of friends or like your group maybe gets smaller and smaller because you realize like the quality is so much more than quantity, and you have your trust in like just a handful of people and not, everybody that you've ever met. And approaching 30, it's made me realize like there are people who you love and respect mutually. And it's like, it's such a healthy thing because when you realize like you actually don't need quality or quantity over quantity, it's more quality.
Yeah, I don't think that's sad at all. I think it's like kind of reducing, like a reduction.
Yeah,
You know, it's like more potent, but
Confined,
it's
yeah.
smaller.
Sad
Or
is not the
refined, I'm
word.
sorry.
So like, okay, my situation is, because when we're talking about coaches, right? I was trying to think, I was like, who have I had that was like a coach, right? Like I did play some organized sports, but I wasn't really close to any of my coaches, right? In terms of like people that were older than me, that were like mentors to me,
No.
I honestly cannot think of one that I was actually close to that I would like actually call up and be like, hey, I need help with this.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was like, I feel like I've always been like that where I just had to figure it out on my own, which I don't know why.
Yeah.
Cause like my mom has always been there for me and she's always been like, she's like what you said, like she's always wanted the best for me and she's a successful person. But I don't know like what, maybe it's just my personality, but I've never really felt like I ever wanted to rely on somebody. I don't know. Maybe that's what it was. But it was just how I've always been and that might be playing into why I have so many random hobbies. Cause like I just never took the time to focus on one thing because I never had someone to focus me on one thing.
Very interesting.
Interesting. Yeah. I didn't even think about that. I'm literally having that realization right now.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I had a good childhood. It wasn't bad or anything like that. I mean, I wasn't that close to my dad, but other than that, it was pretty good. But I just wasn't that close to them, you know? So like I didn't seek them ever for advice about anything.
No.
Like even now I don't really do that, you know?
Yeah.
So like, but then now it's like I have my own kids. I want to be there for them for everything, you know? It's like if they're going through something, I want them to know I'm always going to be there for them kind of thing. It's like, maybe it was just that generational gap where they were so Korean and like I was so not Korean like at all that it was like it just felt so like going to them for something felt almost useless. Not because they were bad people, just because like I wouldn't gain anything from their advice, you know, kind of thing.
Well, it's almost like crossing into a different like reality almost. You know? It's like these feelings that you have, like these problems that you have, like it just doesn't translate into this compartment of your life.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like a good way to explain what it feels like to have parents from a different heritage. And then you're like growing up in this, you know, new country and you're adopting all those cultural norms, you know, and making all these friends that have those norms from the get-go.
Yeah.
But then your parents are here for the purpose of you thriving, but they left their home.
Yeah.
So it's like there's like a huge gap in terms of like the things you want to say, the things that you're feeling, the things that are normal to you. And it's just like, oh, I don't know how that's going to translate over to this other part of my life, which is just as important, but it just, you know, I don't know how that meshes. So yeah, I definitely get that.
Yeah.
You at the very least had parents that spoke English. And I think that is a blessing, you know, like I think that's such an amazing thing. Not to say that like, you know, like that means you just were able to tell everything that you felt, but still like, I just feel like that was a huge struggle for a lot of people, just not being able to like even say what you're, you know, thinking.
No, cause like that, I mean, I agree. Cause like, well, my dad, he's got a super thick accent, but like my mom, if you called her, you would think that she's like a white lady, like talking on the phone. Cause she came here when she was like 16, right? So she's pretty Americanized too. But it was just like, it was weird. Like, cause just growing up, I felt like I was just so different from them, you know? I realize that I'm a lot like my mom now, but I did not feel like that growing up. I felt like I was like, maybe it was because I was so different from my dad. It was just hard for me to connect with anybody, you know, in my family. But like I have good relationships with them, but I just didn't feel like I could go to them with my problems. So it's interesting.
Did you ever feel like that growing up, being Asian was kind of like embarrassing? For me, I personally wasn't really embarrassed about it, but I was just like, why do I have to explain so many things to all these people? You know, it's like, because all my friends at the time were white. Elmhurst, Illinois at the time was just like a fully white town. And so just like walking around school, all you see is people that don't look like you. And eventually you start thinking that you are these people as well. Which, you know, to some extent you are. Like you are one with this group of people, but then every once in a while they'll always remind you that you are different. And so that's the thing that kind of bothered me throughout that. Like one time when I was playing football during my sophomore year or something like that, I remember we're all doing drills and like going and we're, you know, going hard. We have pads on and like hitting each other and whatever. And then like one of the coaches, he like looked at me and was like, "Hey, Wang Chung, blah, 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 blah." He started saying this stuff, right? At the time, you're supposed to just take that. Right? It's like, you're just a kid. You don't know if something's racist. You know, they're just making fun of you. They're giving you a hard time. If somebody's like fat, they're going to call him fat. Like if you got small eyes, they're going to call you Asian, like whatever. They're going to just make fun of you. You're supposed to be a tough guy. You're supposed to suck it up and just do the drill because that's what coach tells you to do. It made me feel like, why is he singling me out? You know, like, I mean, it's not like I like went home and cried about it or something like that. I was just kind of like, what Wing Chun? Like, what is that? Never even heard of that phrase before. And he said that. But if somebody does that today, they're out of a job.
Yeah.
Like, without a doubt, you know. So in some regard, I'm definitely happy that things changed a little bit so that people are a little bit more inclusive, a little bit more aware, I would say. Aware of what not to say. Because Asian people have feelings too, right? It's like,
do they? Are you sure?
Yeah, well, our faces don't have any expression, so you know, I'm sure like they can't tell.
Because our eyes are too small.
Yeah, but you gotta look closer. There is a single tear coming out, you know, like.
Yeah, we gotta squeeze it out, but it's coming.
Yeah, that's why our eyes are small. It's trying to squeeze out a tear, trying to express something.
Yeah. You guys ever had parents pack Asian food for lunch?
No.
No, really? Oh, Eunice did.
I have a very. Go ahead, Eunice.
No, I honestly, I think I was embarrassed back then too. And I was going to say, like, a lot of us, we could probably relate to each other in that if we grew up in a predominantly Caucasian or another race neighborhood, we probably got a lot of jokes, microaggressions. And I even remember like having to, like, let alone the lunch thing, I was like, okay, definitely not going to bring any like kimbap or like kimchi, like none of that stank.
Yeah. Into
like my school. And I would be like, okay, if it's anything, it's just Spam. But even that is weird. So I was like, okay, ham and cheese sandwiches. but then like, I remember ordering colored contacts, like all the time. And then I would pick which ones make my eyes look snap. Yeah, but I was like, I can't get blue because those are too fake. I have to get hazel, which then blends with my dark pupils to make it look a little bit more real. And that's kind of twisted. It's like I was trying so hard to look the most fake, but real to the other. You know what I mean? Like it was, and I dyed my hair blonde at one point. It's just because I think at the point at that stage in my life. Like as an adolescent, you look at what's cool, you look at what's popular, and being Asian was not cool, nor was it popular. So you look at the next best thing, which is just being white, and like whatever they did, you tried to do. Ham and cheese sandwiches and all.
Yeah, there's something messed up with that. Kimbap is delicious. Yeah. Kimchi is delicious. Spam is God's gift to the world.
I think
people and
you're
we
right
thought
about kimbap, but kimchi thing, I don't.
But we for some reason we're brainwashed into thinking Lunchable crackers were the best lunch we had. We're like coveting that stuff once like the white kids brought that in, and we're like, oh, why can't we just have something normal like that? That's lunch.
Yeah.
That's a snack.
No, but this is very interesting because, you know, like we did try to you know, really just kind of fit in, you know, and adapt to our surrounding, our environment. And like the color context is a good one. Lunchable is another good one. Cause like, why did we want Lunchables? It's only because the kids around us had Lunchables. Yeah. You know, there's so many good food in our culture. Why would we resort to crackers and cheese and, you know, that are.
And that ham is like a lower quality Spam.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Right.
Yeah. It came with the dessert.
That's expired.
That's probably part of why they liked it so much. It came with some kind of smell.
Don't say they, man. I know you walked in with the Lunchable.
Oh, for sure. I did. My favorite was the pizza one. I like the pizza.
I mean, that's nice.
Yeah.
The pizza was pretty good.
Yeah.
That was good.
They only gave you 2 little things, though.
Yeah, like little discs.
Yeah, they need to give you like 5.
Little plastic thing that you spread and then the fake cheese. And the fake pepperonis. It was so good. And it comes like a little Oreo or something at the end.
Yeah.
There was actually one day that remember so like vividly. And it was a very, now that I think about it, and especially in this day and age, such a pivotal, proud moment of my life. There was, I don't know if it was like 5th grade or 6th grade. It was some time when I was really young, and we had
your parents got you Lunchables?
Special edition Scooby-Doo kind of. Yeah. No. But it was like Heritage Day, and we had to prep for this for like a month in advance. And basically we dug into our roots, and like that day was the day we had like those poster boards, and like our entire desk was set up with our heritage. And like mine was South Korean, and other people had like Irish, Scottish, or like Italian. Some people just had like, I don't know what the fuck I am, but I'm just going to choose this because I'm white. Like, yeah.
They brought Taco Bell. Yeah. When you're confused, you bring Taco Bell.
Exactly. Or a Lunchable. Yeah. And it was so cool to see actually like all these kids that I thought were just like white, and we were all so different. And then my pod, like my desk, I get to present like my heritage. And I remember bringing these like Korean candies that I would get from like, I don't know, H-Mart or like Asia Market or whatever at the time. And my pod was like the most popular that day. And I felt cool. And I was like, oh my gosh, like they like me because of my candy. Yes. But also because internally I was like, oh, because of my contacts. Yeah. And my hair. Yeah. And that was just like a moment that I sometimes think about time to time. Like,
that's awesome.
That's awesome.
But not every kid gets that, which is really unfortunate. And I didn't get it enough in order to embrace it more when I was little. It was just that one day, which I wish happened a lot more often.
Yeah.
I had a really different experience. I don't know if it was because of my mindset was different, because I did have Asians at my school. So I didn't feel as ostracized in that way. Like, I know that there was microaggressions that happened to me, but it didn't affect me at all growing up. I don't know why. My thing was more of like, I could not find my identity as a person, like at all. I did not know who I was. So I just adopted the identity of the group that I was with. So no matter what. So I was like a different person every day, everywhere I was.
Oh, wow.
So it could change in a day because I was hanging out with one group and then I went to go hang out with another group and just act completely differently with them. So it was just like, but there was like, cliques, there's the Korean clique. But there's like different types of white cliques, there's like a popular white clique and there's like this other type of white clique. I don't remember. But then but I always had like my hobbies that I really enjoyed. But they were super like underground at the time, like anime or, like, I don't know, something like nerdy, like video game, like something super,
DDR.
Yeah, something like super nerdy stuff back then, right? Like now it's like fine. But like at the time it was super nerdy. So like I had that group too, and I acted differently when I was with them. And I just had so many different personas that by the time I got to college, like, I didn't really know who I was. Like, and I kind of just like I said, just like when I noticed someone was acting a certain way, I would just adopt that. And then like, that just became my life for a while. So like, even now, sometimes I'm like, who am I? But then like, I feel pretty confident in myself now. But then I remember growing up thinking like, I thought that was just normal. Like people just did this, but I didn't realize until someone called me out on it in college. Like, you act differently when you're with these people. And I was like, oh, I do. And I didn't think about it. And then I had to like figure that out. And that took a while.
That's a good friend.
Yeah.
That's a good friend.
It was my cousin. But yeah.
We don't talk anymore. But he was a good friend.
But yeah, it was interesting.
See, I remember
was that hard for you to hear?
Yeah,
it must have been.
It was really hard. It was like my freshman year, and it was like, because like up until then, that was like the only life I knew, like being a different, like just acting, just assimilating, essentially. Yeah. But then not because I was being forced. I don't know if I just did it naturally. The Koreans that were at my school at the time, they were all like KP, Korean Pride, and like
that's cringy
kind of
as
like
hell.
yeah, and like kind of like like gangpe, like Korean gangster type like wannabes, right?
Growing up in the suburbs.
Yeah, we grew up in La Cañada. Like there's no way, right? But then like that was them, and like I tried to be that, but I was just so not like that. Like first of all, I'm not even good at Korean. Like my Korean's bad, so. I can't even like relate to that part of it. But then they're the only Koreans at my school and they all act like that. So like, I just did that when I was with them, but then like, I just did my best version of that, but it just, I was just like, okay. But then like, as soon as I left, I'd like go do, I'd be the white guy now, I'd act like a white guy over there. But then it was so weird. Like,
well, Eunice brought up like an embarrassing, cringy, moment. Do you guys have any like cringy moments, like especially trying to fit in and thinking back, you're like, what was I doing? That is so cringy.
I have so many, but they always come to me like when I'm like they just like pop. I'm like I'm trying to think of
when you're trying to sleep.
Yeah, I'm like
your brain.
Why did I do that? Like 30 years ago, why did I do that? I'm so stupid.
Everybody remembers.
God, I'm trying to think. Give me a second.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, like I never had anything cringy that I did to try and follow, like or anything. But then there's times when it's cringy because like I'm not like when I listen to somebody talk and then they say something and I don't hear it, I'm too lazy to ask them to repeat it. So I just go like, yeah. Like, they might have asked me a question. They're just like, wait, what do you mean? Like, why not? And I'd be like, what?
Yeah.
I got to be honest with you. I didn't hear anything you just said. I just smiled.
Do you feel embarrassed?
I mean, I just got to fess up after that. You know,
I know,
like when they're like waiting for an answer, I'm just like, I'm just sorry. I wasn't listening at all.
But then do you feel embarrassed about that though?
I mean, momentarily. But then like when you fess up and then they start laughing about it, you're just like, now we're actually laughing. Yeah. Okay, so say it again. Yeah.
My dog died.
It's like, I'm like,
all right, man.
Oh, yeah.
What? Why are you happy?
Like Sam's like, you want to go get some lunch? After that, it's like you are
how's
Asian,
your dog, man.
Yeah, that kind of stuff happens. Like just socially awkward stuff happens to me all the time, like that.
Yeah. I did. Okay, so I remember this one where I don't think it was to fit in, but then like, okay, so. It was worse because I try to explain myself. That's the worst.
Yes.
When you try to explain
get
why
to that
you're doing
point,
something and you're like just digging that grave, just making things worse. But like I was in a group and we're talking and like I don't remember what the situation was, but for some reason this girl said something and then I responded by quoting a Family Guy line, right? And it was something to do with fat chicks.
Ooh.
But the girl herself was a little bit heavier. And after I said the line, I was like, oh my God, it's good. Like that probably came off so wrong. So I try to explain it as from a fat, and I was just like, I was like, I need to stop talking. I just like, okay. And I just stopped and I left. I was like, that was the worst thing that could have possibly happened in that moment. So that was
well, now she's a fitness model. So thank you.
I was like, oh, damn it. What is wrong with me?
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah, that was bad.
No.
It's like, is there anything worse than like commenting on like somebody's weight? It's like more cringy.
Oh my God.
I mean, we know a guy in Chicago who would, and he would say this occasionally, but I wish he didn't, but he would say, hey, pregnant? Never ever say that, like
why do you ask guys that?
Never. It's not gonna happen, but yeah, so he would say this to girls and I would always think, I'm like, you gotta start with
you're just playing
something
with fire.
different. Yeah, you gotta maybe start with a high.
So he switches it up. He's like, hey, did you gain weight?
You might as well.
Just get straight to the point.
Oh my God. Yeah, I did that when I was like in elementary school on accident when I was a kid. But like, how old is this guy? Or how old was he?
He's older
be 50
than
next
us.
week.
Yeah. He's older. He's just one of those guys that are not exactly like aware of things,
Oh my.
But what's funny is that in Korean culture, they just straight up tell you you gain weight.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
Like it's all about the appearance over there. Like it's just kind of like, oh, did you gain weight? Oh my gosh, you got bigger. Or like, or like when they're meeting somebody for the first time, they're like, oh, you're handsome, or like, oh, you're pretty, or stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a huge cultural barrier because like in America, let's say you translate that directly to our culture here, you don't go up to somebody and be like, you are so handsome.
Yeah.
Just be like,
yeah, my mom
restraining order.
My mom did that once. That was really because it was oh my God, I'm remembering this now. We were it was at their apartment. Like I was gonna rent out an apartment, and then like it was like my first month when my parents came along, and the apartment manager or something like that was like this. She wasn't a temp, right? Because like the woman I was working with before was not this lady, but then it was like this like attractive blonde lady, right? And then my mom like said that to her. I was just like, why?
You're an attractive blonde lady?
Yeah, she's like,
Wow.
like, oh, you're very pretty. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, why are you saying this? It's so weird.
That's very nice.
It's
You know,
nice.
it would be weird if your dad did that.
That's true.
You are sexy. It's like, wait, what?
But then I've also had that thing where my boss, when I was doing property management, he like met up with a client who was like this heavier set dude.
Yeah.
And then it was like, I think he was like Hispanic or something, but he like commented on his weight. And I was just like, why?
Okay, so
Like, why are you saying that? He's like, oh, it's just culture. And I was like,
It's
is
just
it culture?
culture.
And I was
Yeah.
like, because like you're saying that now.
It's
I was
my
like,
culture.
Oh. I was like, okay.
I just made it up just now. Okay, so I was in a situation, right, where there was maybe like 3 or 4 of us, and there was a chair, and one of us, one of the girls, she was kind of a heavier set.
Oh, no.
She sits down, completely demolishes the chair. It's like boom, it just breaks, right? Now, what do you do, right? I in my mind, I'm panicking because there's nothing that I'm gonna say there's nothing that I'm gonna say right now is going to help her, right? So I just got angry at the chair. I was like, damn chair, that stupid
What's
chair.
the warranty on this?
You know, yeah. Anybody have the warranty? Oh, man.
Craftsman was just terrible.
Yeah.
He used bad glue,
stupid chair, you know.
bad nails.
So I just got like my instant like reaction to it was like angry at the chair, you know, to trying to like
Soften the blow.
yeah, soften the blow or just steer the
Maximum
attention away.
capacity on this is only 400 pounds. Like what?
But yeah, it was one of those tricky moments. I didn't know how to really respond to that because again, weight is sensitive, and we know that. But you know, I'm sure there are other people that have no concerns or problem saying, "Hey, you're just big." Yeah, the chair couldn't handle you. You know,
That would be rough.
People just have to be a little bit more sensitive about how people accept certain words. They just kind of miss out on the cues there.
Yeah.
So here's a lesson: don't talk about people's weights.
Yeah. Today, the moral of today's lesson: don't talk about people's weights.
Yeah, don't ask random dudes if they're pregnant. Girls either.
do it behind their back.
Talk amongst yourselves, but not to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, on that note, should we end it?
How long has it been? I don't even know.
An hour?
Indeed.
It's been an hour.
Yeah. So if you are, gaining a little pounds, from this past year, hit the
certainly
gym,
have.
and we're not judging you, but if you judge yourself in the mirror, it's a good time to get a membership.
Yeah.
Are gyms opening?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, they've been open.
Oh, they have. Okay. I don't get out. So
Here at Loud Snackers, we invite any and all groups of people, sizes,
Yes.
colors, age, especially people over the age of 30. It's just wild, but
Yeah, we will ask if
we
you
love
got
all.
bigger, but yeah, we accept it.
watch us single out over 30 people.
But it's not about the weight. It's about self-confidence, right? It's about just being confident in your skin. And so even if you are a little bit chubbier, so what?
That's very true.
Embrace it.
Embrace it. If you're
More
too
to love.
skinny, so what?
I didn't gain weight, but I definitely lost all my muscle. So that's what happened during this
Yeah.
pandemic.
As long as you feel great about that, it's all good.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, this is what I'm talking about. Even if I don't have the muscles, I'll still wrestle my young self and I'll kick his ass. That's the confidence.
Yeah, that is that confidence. The mental game.
Wait, Brandon, are those your veggie straws that you brought?
No, I brought it.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, it's because you keep eating veggie straws, you're losing muscle.
Ah.
No, it's because I keep on eating fast food.
All right, fam.
Right.
Well, thank you for joining us on Loud Snackers. We will see you guys next time. Don't take any offense. You guys are all beautiful.
Yeah.
Bye.
All right.